Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Advanced Bass Fishing, and appreciate you guys joining me for today's video. Guys, today I want to talk about probably the number one thing that you can do as far as you want to have more consistency in your bass fishing and just catch fish day in and day out, and not have those situations where you go out one day, catch them, and don't catch them the next day. There's one piece of advice I want to give you in here in today's video that will help you maintain your consistency day in and day out. So we're going to get into that in today's video. Also, guys, thank you very much for everybody who's taking time to hit that subscribe button here at Advanced Bass Fishing. I appreciate everybody who's been using all the links in my description, all my tackle warehouse links for your tackle. Appreciate that. And guys, also anyone interested in booking an on-the-water lesson with me, you can do that by going to my Facebook page, Randy Blaukat Professional Angler. Just shoot me a private message there. Okay, here is what you can do, guys. I'm going to talk a little bit about how to maintain consistency and how to catch them day in and day out. And that is, you have to adjust your techniques to the techniques that produce under all different weather conditions. And there's a couple different ones I want to talk about in today's video, because one of the reasons that people have a hard time being consistent in bass fishing is that they don't fish the lure categories that the bass will trigger a strike on a consistent day in and day out basis. Now let me give you an example. It's like, let's talk about like a crankbait fishing. Crankbait is a reaction lure. In other words, it's a bait that you reel horizontally through the water column, and in order for a bass to bite a crankbait, they have to exhibit some level of aggressive behavior and feeding behavior, because it takes some effort. It's like when a crankbait's bouncing across the bottom, or if it's sitting next to a lay down tree or something, the fish have to expel some type of energy in order to chase that crankbait down, and they have to be in a certain frame of mind to do that. That's why some days you go out there, if the conditions are right, like you got a little bit of wind, the conditions are prefrontal, that type of thing, low light conditions maybe, they bite a crankbait really good. And then if it toughens up, and say if it gets it bright and you lose your wind and the fish are finicky and they're heavily pressured, sometimes the crankbait's not going to work, because it's more of a technique for aggressive fish. There's a lot of lure categories out there. I would put lure categories like crankbaits, topwaters, chatterbaits, spinnerbaits, swim baits, glide baits, anything like that you reel horizontal through the water column. You're going to have inconsistent success. Now, here's what you can do, guys, if you want to really catch fish day in and day out, out of any weather conditions. Like, this is going to work if it's sunny, partly cloudy, rainy, windy, calm. It doesn't really matter. And that is fishing two different baits: a Texas rig Cinco or soft plastic stick bait, like a Zoom's Linky, Cinco's Linky, something like that, or a shaky head with a Zoom trick worm on it. Now, here's the thing about it. When you fish a slow bait, like a Texas rig, soft plastic stick bait on a light sinker, or a shaky head on a light sinker, this is a technique that the bass do not have to expel very much energy at. It's like it's crawling down the bottom, and all they have to do is just like slowly swim over to it and just flare their gills and suck it in there. That's all they have to do. So it doesn't require effort, and there's nothing that keeps them from biting it if it's windy, sunny, cloudy, rainy, whatever. It's like they'll bite it in every single condition. That is why anglers, let me give you two pro examples here what I'm talking about. Larry Nixon. Larry Nixon is known as a worm fisherman, and he's been able to be one of the most consistent anglers, even as he got older into his 60s, because he fished a Texas rig worm and a jig and like a soft plastic stick bait pretty much all the time. He'd fish reaction baits occasionally, but not very often. So he was consistent day in and day out, year after year. Where you have an angler like Rick Clunn that has not maintained that level of consistency, but he's won a lot of tournaments because he likes to fish reaction baits like spinner baits and crankbaits. And when the fish are biting them, he'll catch them good on that. But if they're not biting them, he may struggle. So that's two good polar opposites of the example I'm trying to talk about if you want to maintain consistency. So I would suggest, guys, if you just want to catch them out day in and day out, get you a bunch of Texas rig worms, Texas rig soft plastic, Texas rig creature baits, shaky head drop shot, and really spend your time focused on those slow bottom bouncy lures, because that's just going to give you more consistency on every single day of the year. So anyway, I hope it helps out, guys. We'll see you.